Welcome to the Montana Council Family Den Pilot Program Kickoff Meeting. We are excited to have your PAC participate. This kickoff will give you the overview and details of the pilot program and cover the things your PAC will be expected to do during participation. There is a question and answer box. So if you have questions, please feel free to type them in there. Anything that we do not cover during the course of the webinar, we have time set aside at the end to answer questions. So take advantage of, again, the question and answer box. To start off our meeting, we just have a quick safety moment. And that's in regards to annual health and medical records. For adults and youth, being physically strong is one of the best ways to prevent accidents and injuries in the scouting. This doesn't mean everyone has to look the same physically, or that everyone must have the same diet or be able to complete the same physical challenges. What it means is that when we pay attention to our health, the health of our Cub Scouts and other adults, we can create a safer environment for fun. As well as we all know, getting hurt or sick is never fun. The first priority is to ensure that every Cub Scout leader has an annual health and medical record, and that it is on file with the PAC. The annual health and medical record does not fall under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA. We want to ensure that everyone participating in scouting activity is aware of their health and their skill ability. The tool for doing this is the annual health and medical record. To learn more, you can watch the roundtable video. It's titled Being Physically Strong and Ready for Fun. You can do that by visiting scouting.org or scanning that QR code that's on the slide there. There'll be several QR codes that will pop up during the presentation, and so you can scan those to be taken to different links. And I apologize, I failed to introduce myself. I am Levi Knight. I'm a district director for the Montana Council, based out of the Billings office, though I've served now 6 districts in our council, so you might know me from previous service areas. Most recently, I was in Great Falls before coming to Billings. And I started my career with the Montana Council up in Kalispell. So excited again to have you with us tonight. Thank you for taking the time to join the webinar and for your interest in this pilot program for family dens. So another just couple things. There are some national resources that will come out that you can stay up to date on Cub Scouting. These are roundtable videos that are available on scouting.org. They cover all kinds of topics, and you can use those videos for your district roundtables if you handle those, or in your unit at any time. Also, your local district, if you're not aware, has a roundtable meeting or should be having a roundtable meeting, usually monthly. Please contact your district executive for more information about roundtable in your district. If you don't know who your district executive is, we will have their contact information for you conveniently at the end of this webinar. One last thing we want to make you aware of is Cub Chat Live, which happens every Friday at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. That is a weekly Facebook Live show that covers a different topic every week and is sponsored by Scouting Magazine. So you can scan the QR code there to learn more about Cub Chat Live. That's all of the business out of the way. We'll get right into it. So we have 3 items to cover in this kickoff. The first is to give a quick background on the concept of piloting family dens, as this is a change to the program. The second is to draw attention to key items outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding, which is required to participate in the pilot program. And then the final thing that we'll have, obviously, is a question and answer period for those questions that we do not address during the course of the webinar. In 2021, the National Cub Scouting Committee had identified that a number of girls joining Cub Scouting nationally was about 10% of Cub Scout membership. However, when the number of girls was divided by the number of family packs, it came to less than 1. So 72% of packs are designated as family packs. Those family packs had less than 1 girl registered, and about 2% did not have any girls, right? And this is based on June 30 membership last year in 2021. this next slide takes a little bit. There we go. A detailed review of family packs identified that several had no girls registered, and in family packs with more than one girl, the girls were of different grade levels. In the field, this was reported as a pain point as packs struggled to form gender-specific dens. A proposal was drafted to allow family packs to form dens with boys and girls as an option. This would provide greater flexibility, reduce the number of den leaders needed within the same pack, and most importantly, provide girls and boys in the same pack equality program. A national survey of family packs was recently conducted asking you how things were going. The response rate gave us a 95% confidence level with a plus or minus of 3%. Overall, things are looking pretty good in family packs. So as you can see, almost 80% are pretty happy with family scouting. So that's pretty successful, in my opinion. We asked questions about what was going well and what challenges you were having. It was clear that recruitment of volunteer leadership is a challenge. If you look at the graph there, about 73% of respondents said that it was difficult to recruit new volunteer leaders. So that is a challenge nationwide, obviously a challenge that we all deal with. The National Cub Scouting Committee felt that having separate gender dens was a barrier, but they wanted to find out if it was really an issue for family packs. The best way to do that was with open-ended questions to see what would bubble up, both positive and negative. We asked you about what positives you liked about family scouting, and it was clear you liked having a family pack and had a lot of positive things to say about it. Increased participation was a common theme among the most popular responses. So having the whole family participate, having more activities, female siblings being able to participate with their brother is a big one. Having more scouts because there's more youth available if you're having boys and girls. And then having boys and girls being able to work cooperatively and learn greater respect for the skills and abilities of both genders. So really positive experiences with family scouting. We asked what challenges you were facing, and the top 4 issues are centered around having separate gender dens. The family den pilot is designed to remove this barrier. The pilot was developed using data and feedback from you. So thank you for responding. If you ever get a survey, Voice of the Scouts, something similar to that, they do, and we take into account those responses and work to make things better and improve the program. So we appreciate you for responding to those. So just running real quick through the challenges. Having enough leaders to have 2 leadership for every den. Female leadership requirements are hard to meet. Hard to understand why dads could lead daughters' den, but moms could lead sons' den. Too few girls, in the Packer den to have synergy or recruitment for program delivery. Units to not follow the requirement of having boys and girls in separate dens. And then retaining female leaders, again, to cover the female leadership requirements. All negatives, experience, or challenges with family scouting. So hopefully this family den pilot will help to resolve some of those challenges. Now we'll talk about the memorandum of understanding and what your pack agrees to do by taking part in this pilot program. All right. The action items your pack will need to do for the pilot are to get your charter partner to agree. The chartered organization rep needs to sign that memorandum of understanding along with the PAC committee chair. Then you will need to use Scoutbook to set up your dens. So we will go through the process of doing that. Review and comply to the memorandum of understanding. On a national level, this pilot will allow us to gather data on this delivery model. So every PAC that participates will get a special interest code, and we'll be able to track sort of the background numbers to see if this is successful, right? Our major indicator will be the Net Promoter Score and the engagement levels measured through Voice of the Scout survey. So make your parents and other leaders aware that they receive a survey from the BSA to please take the time to complete it. Again, their responses are important. We do pay attention to that. The National Council pays attention to that, and their responses will help determine the success of the pilot. This proposal went through a thorough risk assessment and legal review. It was identified that no changes to current health and safety measures would be necessary for this proposal. So obviously we have our barriers to abuse. We should all be very familiar with those. But essentially there are no changes to anything with the rollout of family dens other than that specific change, obviously. We want to remind everyone that part of our current barriers to abuse is the buddy system, and that youth buddy pairs must be single gender. This in the past, this is obviously not emphasized in Cub Scouting, as the den structure was single gender. With a family den with boys and girls, a boy and girl may not be paired up as buddies. Actually, the buddy system is used all the time during meetings, and buddies must be of the same gender. We also want to emphasize the requirement that a registered adult female leader who is 21 years of age or older must be present anytime female youth are participating in the program. All right, so 2 deep leadership, 2 registered adult leaders over 21 years of age are required at all Scouting activities, including meetings. And then there must be a registered female adult leader, 21 years of age or older, in every unit serving females. And then that female adult leader must be present in any activity involving female youth. Some Cub Scout camping reminders. There are specific camping policies for Cub Scouting that are in the Guide to Safe Scouting. But here are a couple reminders to brush up on. Cub Scouts can camp as a pack, and Cub Scout Webelos and Arrow of Light Scouts can camp out as a den. Pack campouts and Webelos and Arrow of Light den campouts must have a blue trained leader. Cub Scout campouts can happen at an approved site. Approval happens through your local council. In Cub Scouting, parents and guardians may share a tent with their family. Cub Scouts may share a tent with their immediate family, which may include their siblings as well as their parent or guardian. If Cub Scouts of any rank are sharing a tent with other Cub Scouts instead of their family, male and female youth must camp separately, and there can be no more than a 2-year age difference. Pretty straightforward. Now is the perfect time for you and your pack leadership to review the Guide to Safe Scouting and the SAFE checklist. This is something you are to do prior to any scouting activity. These resources are on scouting.org, and the online version is always the most current policy. So it's very easy to just Google in Guide to Safe Scouting or DSA SAFE checklist, and that link there will take you to scouting.org to pull it up, or you can follow the QR codes there on the screen and bookmark those resources. That's sort of the background and then the expectations programmatically for your pack as part of the pilot. Now we're going to do a quick walkthrough on how to set up dens in Scoutbook. If you are new to Scoutbook, to access it, you simply go to scoutbook.com. Your pack is already in Scoutbook, as it is a portal to your official pack records. You log in using the same username and password as you would for my.scouting. In order to do this, which is set up dens in Scoutbook, you will need to have administrative rights to your pack in order to create dens. This is automatic for registered charter organization representatives, pack committee chairs, and Cub masters. Admin rights can also be given to any registered leader in the pack by the chartered organization representative or pack committee chair. If you need Scoutbook support, please reach out to your district executive. Again, we'll have a slide at the end of the presentation that will have all of the contact info for all the district executives across the council. Or you can call our council service center, that is 406-761-6000 during business hours. And Kirsten is sort of our guru when it comes to Scoutbook. So once you're logged in, you will be on the home screen. This is what it will look like. And click on the pack on the right-hand side. From the pack page, you may see dens already set up. You could use the existing dens to fill with the leaders and youth. If you need to create a den, you will find the button to do so on the lower right side after the list of dens. So there in the bottom right, to the button to add DINs. You don't need to be scrambling to take screenshots or pictures of this. We will share this recorded webinar and very likely this PowerPoint very shortly after the conclusion of this meeting. So we'll make sure that we get this information out. You will then identify the type of DIN you are creating and give it a DIN number. So there are all the DINs, obviously lions, tigers, wolves, bears, webelos. The DIN you created will now show up on the pack page. You will click on the DIN. From the DIN page, you can add new leaders or new scouts. From here, there are a variety of ways to add a scout based on if the scout is already in a DIN or not. So you should see the buttons to add a leader, or reassign a scout, or add a new scout. If the scout is already in the pack, you could click the reassign button and that will take you to a roster of the pack and you would pick all the youth you want to invite to that DIN. The other option is to add a new scout who is not in Scout Book and invite them to join the DIN. This does get complicated and creates multiple records sometimes, so I would advise this is not the best way to do it. If there's some reason a scout that is in your pack that is not showing up in Scout Book, probably best to work with your district executive to see why that is probably not registered correctly, something of that nature. So probably not the ideal solution right here, but this is something you can do, is to add new scouts in the Scout Book yourself. When setting up your DIN, if you need help, you can go to help.scoutbook.scouting.org. It's also that QR code there can be used. And again, for Scout Book support, you contact your district executive. If you do not know who that is, again, we'll have a slide at the end of the presentation who will with their information, or you call the Council Service Center, talk to Kirsten, she will help you out the best you can. You might have noticed that when we talk about this family DINs, we talk about lions, tigers, wolves, bears, and webelos. We are not including 5th grade Arrow of Light DINs in this. They remain single gender. This pilot is not a path forward, nor should it be interpreted as one to any changes to Scouts BSA. The data on Scouts BSA and the structure of single gender troops is not comparable to Cub Scouting. To properly prepare 5th grade Cub Scouts for Scouts BSA, where they will be in a single gender troop, the 5th grade Cub Scouts are to remain in separate gender DINs. As participants in this pilot program, we expect you to enforce this standard with your packs, and we will enforce the standard in any district or council level program. It's very important. I mentioned, here's that slide. Also, if for those of you that are attending that are in the Highline and Lewis and Clark districts, and you may not be aware, we are pleased to announce that we have hired Dan Hare to be the district executive for the Highline and Lewis and Clark districts. Dan is coming to us from Pennsylvania. He has a scouting background as a participant and working on camp staff. He's most recently this summer running program. His professional life, he was a teacher prior to joining professional scouting, and he will be starting September 1st. So we're excited to have him on board, and I'll be working closely with Dan to get him up to speed as he onboards with our council. So, but for now, if you're in the Highland Lewis and Clark districts, you know who me already. You can reach out to me if you have any questions. And obviously, I'm also serving Black Otter and Shortgrass in my current capacity. Central Buffalo Plains and Badlands, Dave Snyder is your guy. Mullen Trail, my good buddy Scott Jordanay. Prickly Pear and Vigilante, Blake Chase, he's a rock star. Renee in Mountain Valley, she's incredible. And Jim, what can we say about Jim up in Northwest? He's a great guy as well. So those are all the district executives and their contact information if you need support. Additionally, probably our best resource in our council for scout book support, if that's what you're having problems with, is Kirsten Steele in the Great Falls office. So she's the best one to contact there. All right, we are to our question and answer period, and we have questions. The first question, and it looks like they're both the same. So if you only have one female scout at a camp or event, is it okay for them to partner with a cousin or a male family member? And then the second one is along the same lines. If there's only one female scout in the den, how do we work with the buddy system, particularly if they don't have a sibling or relative also with them? Terry Dunn would like to answer this question live. I mean, I can answer the question, but Terry, do you want to do it?
You're doing fine, Levi.
Okay, I appreciate that vote of confidence. So their parent can act as their buddy in that situation. So their parent would have to attend with them if there's only one female scout in the den. There's no other questions. If that's the case, we have.
There are none currently. We might want to wait a moment and see what happens.
This is the time to ask questions and have them be answered. Oh, we got regarding Arab Light. We already have a Weeblo den set up as a boys den. Do we need to create a new den? So if you have female Arrow of Light scouts, they will need to be in a separate den. Terry would like to enlighten us further on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I understand the question fully, Megan, but if your question is with regard to function of scout book, do you need to set up an additional den? Again, for the fourth grade Weeblo den, you can add girls to it. Now, you might want to, if you're obviously moving those fourth graders into fifth grade, that Weeblo den can remain functionally in the system. You might want to rename it to Arrow of Light or something else. I'm not sure if that answers the question you were asking or not, though.
Bill Lanier, how many packs are going to do this as of right now? I do not have an answer for you because sort of our rollout is a little bit later than we anticipated. So we don't have solid numbers on that. But I anticipate we're going to have a lot of participation. I think this is something that probably a lot of packs were already doing. And so this is just now blessed and sanctioned now by the National Council and the Montana Council. If their aunt is a den leader, can they partner with them? Yes, if they're a relative, parent, Terry, no, we're good. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, so the question is, can an aunt or a partner with that scout? If that is the guardian that is attending with the scout, then that is appropriate, yes.
So again, so it seems like the same question this came up to when they did the webinar for professionals. There's only one, the only female is Arrow of Light. Obviously they can still participate. Their buddy is their parent or guardian. And they're still going to be involved in the program. Yes, you have to split up your dens once they hit.
If you don't mind reading the question, because I don't know when it posts for everyone else.
Sorry. So your question here, you're telling us we have to split up our dens once they hit Arrow of Light, even if they've been together for the past 4 years. That is correct. That is exactly what I'm telling you. This is only for lions, tigers, wolves, bears, and Weeblos. 5th grade Arrow of Light dens are not mixed gender. A den with male participants can have a female leader.
Once again, do you mind just reading that question?
Yeah, the question is, what about a den with male participants? Can they have a female leader? That's always been the case. There's always been female leaders. And the issue has been where it's been a female den. They could not have a male leader. They need to have a female leader.
Yeah, so to clarify, the standard is that at any event that you hold where there are female scouts present, there must be a registered female leader over 21 there. It does not specifically need to be the den leader of that den.
The question is, if synergy was an issue for all girl dens in the earlier program, why won't it be a problem with Arrow of Light? So research collected by the National Pilots Committee concluded that at Cub Scout age, single gender scouting was not necessary. Packs were given the option to form family pack, including both boys and girls in the program. It is not until Scouts BSA age that the benefits of single gender programming arise. So single gender programming is important as they start to age into Scouts BSA age. I understand that it's not ideal. Like we're talking about splitting up dens that have been together for 4 years, talking about all these issues that we're trying to resolve. And then we get to this age group and we're, not having this, but it is an important preparation for what is going to still be a single gender program in Scouts BSA. Question, how long is this pilot program expected to last? At least for the program year. So that we just began, and that will end obviously with the go of the school year. I'm assuming that this will be extended and this will just sort of be the status quo moving forward. Would Arrow of Light dens be able to participate together for activities as long as they each
Levi,
have
if I
their
can
own-
interrupt, the next 4 questions are all on that same theme of can a boys AOL den and a girls AOL den participate together, activities together, as long as they have their den leadership. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 questions all relate to that same topic.
Yes. Do you want to answer the question?
Sure, I can do that. Yeah. So in the same way that your pack might have activities that are, full pack, et cetera, dens, just like linked troops at the Scouts BSA level that have a boys troop and a girls troop can have activities together as long as each of those troops has their own space, their own leaders, space if it's a camp out, obviously, their own leadership that is appropriate to do. Yes.
I think I saw a question about females being in Scout Book. The only requirement is that your mixed gender dens need to be organized in Scout Book. So any den that you're planning to have combined into a mixed gender group, then that needs to be formed in Scout Book. Hopefully that answers the question. We have 2 female in our pack and we are attending a camp function in another pack that doesn't have 2 female leader, allow a Weeblos or Arrow Scout to join our pack at the outing overnight, and how would the bunking go? I think that's a question for Terry to answer.
Sure, I'd be happy to answer that one. So the short answer is no, that a scout from another unit cannot be under the supervision of a different unit's leadership. And the reason is that your chartering organization approves the leadership to supervise your scouts. And every unit has a charting organization that has approved the specific leaders to be supervisors of those scouts within that unit. So putting scouts from one unit under the supervision of another unit is not something that's permitted because that charter organization has not approved those leaders to be the supervisors of those scouts.
I'm Dave. I'm not sure I understand what that is in regard to about girl troops recruiting for multiple packs. So I don't.
And then there is a question in the chat box, Levi, if you want to read that one.
Yeah, the question is, can a female 11-year-old lone scout participate in a boy troop camp out if there are other female 21-year-old trained females and she sleeps alone in a tent if her guardian is not present?
So again, the answer to that one would be no. A female lone scout cannot participate in a boys troop in any way. If she's going to participate in the troop, she would need to join a girls troop and cannot participate as a member or a participant in a boys troop in any way.
Any other questions that we can answer? All right, seeing none. Do we hand the application? Yes. So question, do we hand the I'm assuming application you refer to the memorandum of understanding to your DEs? Yes. Once you have the memorandum of understanding, again, that needs to be signed by the charter organization rep and your PAC committee chair. Then you submit that to your DE, who will then submit it to Michelle for processing. And that way we can tag your unit with the special interest code so we can track the data on the back end, like I mentioned earlier. Another question coming in, it wasn't clear whether DIN leaders are required to be female or if there just has to be female leadership present in general. A registered female adult leader who is 21 years of age or older must be present whenever female youth are present. Does not have to be the DIN leader, okay, but a registered female adult leader who is 21 years of age or older must be present whenever female youth are present. More questions coming in. How are we to continue our Arrow of Light DINs if we cannot get enough adult volunteers to split our mixed gender DINs? So I guess the answer to that question is that there shouldn't have been mixed gender DINs. Just sorry to be pretty frank about that, but prior to this official rollout, it was not sanctioned to have mixed gender DINs. I know that probably that was the reality in a lot of places, but that wasn't the way the program was intended to be ran. So if there's not enough adult volunteers to split the DIN, parents are going to have to step up. I mean, it's a conversation that is uncomfortable to have. It's a difficult one, but it's one that has to be had because if there's enough scouts to have a mixed gender DIN, then there's enough adults, parents of those scouts to step up to be leaders. We got a lot more questions coming in. What about all female leaders for the boys? Is that allowed? Yes, that is allowed. Are there new training modules on Sky.org for PAC leadership that are participating in this pilot program, or is additional training required after this for participation? Not that I'm aware of. This is the training. When is the memorandum of understanding due? We would like to discuss our committee before going to our charter organization. There is no due date. There's not been a date given by national. We don't have any sort of hard deadline. Obviously, as we begin, it's sort of ramping up again with the program year. And so just as soon as possible, because we do hear from national, they'll say, don't have any signed up. Now we do have some signed up now, but just as soon as you can get it done. Another question coming in the chat. Can a female lone scout 11-year-old participate in a district camp out event of boy troops with her guardian? Yes.
Wait, can a female lone scout participate in a district camp out event of boy troops with her guardian? Well, if it's a district event, it's open to all units. It wouldn't just be open to boy troops, but just to clarify, not with a boys troop, but can participate with her guardian in a district event. Absolutely.
As a lone scout with her guardian. Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions, or try this again? It's fine. It's great to have questions. I don't really understand that question. That's sort of above my pay grade. So I don't know, Terry, do you have any input on that? No? Okay.
No, the comment was something about not having male leaders at all. And I don't really have any opinion about that at all. I believe the BSA has made it clear that they would like female leadership present with females specifically. And that's the policy and practice that's in place. But no, I don't have much else to say about that.
So for one more time for clarification, if there is a mixed gender den, there must be at least one female leader of that den. A registered female leader who's 21 years of age or older must be present whenever female youth are present. We'll give, if anyone's furiously typing, we will. Correct. That can be any unit registered female, that doesn't have to be den leader. Bill, why do you do this? Will there be new obligations that say 21 and not 18? Terry doesn't like to answer this question live.
Yeah, so Cub assistant den leaders can be 18, I believe. Not at the tiger and lion level, but above that, assistant den leaders can be 18, but they do not meet that 21-year-old leader requirement that is in place.
So if the Weeblos are mixed gender, a tiger den leader that is female can be present, and that works. Yes. Again, we'll if anyone is still typing, we'll give another minute.
Also, of course, questions after this can be brought to your district executive. A lot of these things are policy related, and there's resources that can point to them. So feel free to reach out to your district executives as well.
Again, the question, we're still on this question: would the female have to be in direct supervision of a female member, or on site in a different area? They have to be in direct supervision. So I guess we get into semantics. So example, if we are all say we're meeting at a school and everyone's in a gymnasium, and there are obviously multiple leaders in the gymnasium and different dens meeting in the corner or going swing off in the corners, then we're covered. If the dens are going into different rooms where they're visibly and physically separate, then there has to be TUIP leadership in that room. And in this case, TUIP leadership would mean that a registered female adult leader over the age of 21 has to be present where those youth physically are. Again, that's a good, if you ever have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to your district executive. If for some reason you cannot get a hold of your district executive, you can feel free to reach out to me. Contact your local office, the council service center. We're happy to answer questions. I'd rather answer a million questions than have a question go unanswered. That's what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to provide answers. And if we don't know the answer to the question, then we'll find it out. We'll run up the chain. We will chase it down as best we can.